On this episode of Swoop Luke.
In the first quarter, Ruffy got kicked in the head by an errant football. You can't be in this video, mate. You can't be in this video. It wasn't good. It wasn't good to watch.
Alright, let's roll that intro. We travelled to Metricon over a year ago, the last time we played the Suns. In that game, we recorded 6 wins in a row and a percentage booster. An 8-goal consecutive passage between the first and the second quarter really set us up with this game, and by then, there was no hope of the Suns getting back. We did, however, get the lead to over 50 points in the third quarter, but to the Suns' credit, they chipped away at us and they reduced the margin back to that 39 points. This was around the time where our swoop squad started to fire up. Thomas kicked 4 goals, Steve-O with 3, followed by DeGoey with 2. Grundy was instrumental in this game, 49 hitouts, 9 tackles, and Adams led the way in our midfield, gathering 30 disposals and 8 clearances. The Suns showed a lot of heart, put up a lot of fight last week against Essendon. This was the game that everyone thought Essendon were going to get a huge percentage boost and jump us on the ladder. But unfortunately, fight and heart can only get you so far in a close game. In the last minute or so, the Suns caved in, allowing Cale Hooker to score a goal and Stringer to get a quick one out of the middle, which saw them lose by 10 points after leading by a couple points in those dying minutes. This was actually the Suns' 14th loss in a row after starting the season with such positive vibes and a handful of wins, and it looked like not that they would challenge for the 8, but they would be in that 11th to 14th team on the ladder. In the third quarter, the Suns got the lead out to 26 points before letting Essendon kick 6 unanswered goals. Their big forwards in King, Day and Wright kicked 9 goals between them, with ex-Pie and now Suns captain Witts being their standout player. As for the Pies, they got mauled by a Tiger team that are surging into finals and premiership contention. We suffered our 4th loss in 5 matches and things didn't go right from before the bounce. Adams was laid out with a hamstring injury, another soft tissue injury to our growing list of injuries. He was replaced on the side by Ben Crocker. In the first quarter, Ruffy got kicked in the head by an errant football, obviously by accident, but he suffered delayed concussions. I'm sure you've all heard the story. He thought he was playing for the Bulldogs at one stage when he was on the bench, and he was out for the rest of the game. This allowed Lynch off the leash, and he went on to kick 5 goals. Up until the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, we had only kicked 1 goal. We kicked the first goal, Adam Treloar, nice snap out of the pack. Then we let the Tigers kick 9 unanswered goals. It wasn't good. It wasn't good to watch. It was an uninspiring performance that saw us drop from the top 4 to 6th on the ladder. Now, it makes that double chance a little bit harder. Still possible if you watched my last video, the ladder prediction video, but it's going to be a difficult run in. Despite the 32-point loss, Treloar gathered 39 disposals, and DeGoey really stood up for the team when it looked like everyone just wanted to sit down and let the game pass them by. Witts has been one of the better ruckmen this year, averaging over 45 hitouts, 14 disposals and 5 clearances a game. Grundy didn't have the best game last week, but now he's going up against former Magpie and it'll be another decisive ruck battle. We know Grundy's really good around the ground, so we should have him covered in that area, but Witts is the number 1 ruckman for the most hitouts in the competition at the moment, and he's a good enough ruckman for the Suns midfielders not having to need to rove to Grundy's tap-outs like every other team has been doing this last month or so. With Roughhead looking the worst for wear and not knowing if he's going to pull up right for Sunday's game, and with King kicking 4, Day kicking 3 and Wright kicking 2 last week, our backline has their work cut out for them. With no more, no done, possibly no Roughhead, our backline is going to be lacking in the height department. Those 3 Suns that I just mentioned all stand around 2 meters tall, and with our backline set up the way it is, each one of our players is going to be giving away around 10 centimeters in height. Even bringing in Goldsack, who yes is a good defender, won't fix our height issue. I know this might sound really silly and stuff, oh height, they're defenders, that's what they do, but look what happened with Appleby when he played on Finlayson in that Giants game. In that matchup, there was only an 8 centimeter difference in favour of Finlayson. And look how much we analysed Appleby's performance, saying he was too short to play in that back line, you know, I was one as well, and now we're lacking in that height. it's just going to be the exact same thing over again. What I think is going to happen is we're not going to play one-on-ones. We saw what happened when Scharenberg was caught out one-on-one with Tom Lynch. We're going to be playing more floating defenders, maybe more of a zone. Yes, we'll have the traditional one-on-one if they bring Goldsack in, but I think they're going to leave Will Hoskin-Elliott in that back line. Howe's going to be obviously in that back line. They're going to be those floating defenders, those intercept markers that we really need to cut off that ball from the Suns midfield before it gets to their big forwards. With no Degoe, our forward line now has become a swamp full of players not willing to wade their way through it. We've now lost our best forward and we're unable to replace him with anyone that's as explosive and as match defining as him. In saying that, this could be the game that our forwards realise that they've actually got to do something. They can't rely on Degoe and they might click into gear. I'd say that all our forwards are on the chopping block, but with no one to bring up from the VFL side, they're just in there by the skin of their teeth and by the luck of the draw. It goes without saying that huge games are needed from Thomas, Elliott in his 100th, Cox and Checkers. We know that Degoe and Quaynor are definitely out with some injuries and Roughhead might follow him, which leaves 3 players to be changed. Tyler Brown should make his debut this weekend. Like I've been calling for the last couple of weeks, he does bring that little bit more height into the forward line and he's been really good at VFL level, very quick and might be that Steve-O type that we need. You'd also think that Goldsack comes straight back into the team, especially with Roughhead possibly being out, and I would think that Wills or Greenwood make up that third in and could slot into the midfield. The Suns will come out swinging, but I think we'll hold on to win by 27 points. My big call, and this might be the biggest call of the year, is that we'll come out of this game with no new injuries. Obviously, this is a huge game for us and definitely a must win if we want to keep our top 4 chances alive. To do that, we need to win all of our next games, and this Suns game might give the team the morale boost that they're in desperate need for. The bottom line is, we're not able to do much about our injuries. Yes, there's been a lot of talk about our soft tissue injuries, how are they getting managed, but injuries do happen. What we can change is our game plan, is our lack of pace. I know that's a bit silly to say because we can't just click our fingers and then everyone's quick, but what I mean is we need to start moving the ball a little bit quicker than we are. We're playing really slow football and really pinpoint football for no reason. Like, we're trying to hit targets where we shouldn't. It's just we need to run the ball up a little bit. That's what I think anyway. But if our game plan is sound, we're a good chance to win our next few games. Also, like I mentioned before, this is Elliott's 100th game. You know, he missed the entirety of 2016, missed the entirety of last year with injuries. It's been a long road for him, so congrats to Elliott, and let's hope he kicks a few goals and we get the win for him. Also, just before I go, there has been a little bit of Darcy Moore trade news with the Western Bulldogs wanting him. I'm going to make a separate video for that, which will get released tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, like, comment, subscribe. I'm 10 subscribers away from 200. Once I reach that magical 200, I'll do a special Q&A, which I really enjoy doing for my 100th subscriber episode. So we'll do that again. And until next time, I'll swoop you later. Damn, do I say play or roll? Nah, I say play. No, I say roll. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Good boy. Alright. Grundy didn't have the best game by his outlandish... Grundy didn't have the best game by his outlandish... Grundy didn't have the best game last week, set by his outlandish standards, mate. Just say standards. But look what happened with Appleby.